Crypto market is up and running. And the primary question for anyone who hold XRP is that are we going to do something big? And I definitely feel it is going to do that, and I'll give you the reason why it is going to lead this market. If you look at XRP and then look at Ether, BTC, whatever you want to actually look at, you do see some pattern evolving and XRP leading the way for the same pattern plus the breakout here. And then you see Ether following same thing, BTC trying to go back up. It has not yet broken to the upside, but it is trying. Look at the RSI, it's breaking higher. To validate that, you're now going to look for we all see this day, last 24 hours, and then the 7 days, it does look green. And you're like, okay, XRP is only 3.7% up last week. Others are 20% for Ether and 8.7% for BTC. But the reality of that is this. If you look for last 30 days, yes, you see Bitcoin up 9%, Ether 17%, and XRP only 4.9%. But when you're looking for last quarter, XRP is up 25%, Bitcoin and Ether is down 10-13%. Then you look for last 1 year and you see XRP is negative 53, whereas both of these are 60 and above. So now you get 1 point. One asset has reversed and others are starting to follow or react inside this market. Now, why is this so important? Because in the market, the unexpected happens. This was what we talked about, and we know what happened afterwards. So be sure that you are here in the market and you are getting that idea of how things evolve and what the majority will be thinking so that you can take a different stance. This is the scientific investor family, where the normal, common guys learn how to become the next top 10% of the world. If you look at XRP right now, we are at a resistance, but the good news is that if it breaks higher, that's a short-term breakout, trying to go all the way back up to 0.5. Now, what's the bad news? That's a resistance. So if you don't break that, you can come back down. But I would actually look at the MACD and say MACD suggests the price that it can actually go higher. We are at the resistance and it can be broken. Now, that's a zoomed in view, right? Hourly chart. So as you zoom out, take a step back and look like, okay, is this evolving in a positive direction? It does look like it is evolving in that positive direction. So you move on to a daily chart and you see a double bottom being printed, broken higher. You came back, you are being supported by both 200-day moving average and the 50-day moving average. Remember, the 50 is trending to the upside. So when the price goes above, 20 will also follow, and that's going to be priced in. Great, because people do understand that. Now we are looking at Ether and asking that question like, okay, I'm bullish because it just broke higher. Yeah, that kind of makes sense because trend just changed. If you were getting rejected here, that's a different story. Whereas right now, the market is saying that I don't care what you believe, but we are breaking back higher. Why this will make future decisions? Because from here, yeah, you do have key levels of resistance which you have to pay attention to, especially say this range. Because by this time, you're making a double bottom reversal pattern where your RSI has been super bullish. You broke higher, retested, bounced. Now that's a daily. If you want to go back 3-day, weekly, wherever you want to go, you will still be able to see that the price action is showing you that it is breaking to the upside. It's being bullish. It's staying close to the resistance and breaking that one to the upside. Now, historically, you get higher momentum when the price action enters here. And for Ether, it has not happened yet. So what we will be looking at is when that possibility arises. Because on a daily, you see that XRP is still in the positive territory. Here in the MACD, that is really bullish. And on a 3-day chart, it's already in the positive territory. So if you get a bounce here from the MACD, you will have higher momentum than Ether because that's history. That's how TA works. That's what we have learned. Now, what's more interesting here is that Bitcoin, yes, it did not break to the upside, but it is reaching towards the positive territory at a time when the RSI has already broken higher. So that kind of goes to a direction where I think, okay, that's going to play out well. Because one thing which a lot of people don't look at is that dollar is breaking low. We were following this as closely as possible and we were like, okay, we broke here, then we are breaking this one, and right now we are even lower than that. The momentum is to the downside, so the dollar is going all the way back, and this is the happy story because this trend line has just been broken. You are going to the downside, so now this double top is going to push the price all the way back down here in the dollar index. While that happens, remember, you are turning completely bearish, and while that happens, your macro trend remains the same. Short term, yes, you are looking at it on a bearish perspective, but this range is most likely going to be a support. So by the time the price reaches here, I would say take profits, because if the price is reaching here and slowing down, that does mean on the other end, market is topping out. But when you're in the market, the primary question becomes like, okay, where should I take profit? Where is the major resistance level which I should look at? So first, it will be the $25,000 here, then $29,000, $30,000 for Bitcoin, which we will be looking at closely so that we'll know where the altcoin market is moving. Right now, this is the altcoin market. I know right now not a lot of people are bullish. They've been bearish. They will be bearish until these key levels break. So this one is like a bullish reversal pattern which you are breaking to the upside. And what you really want to ask that to another guy who is bearish is, okay, this is happening and I agree this is a short-term move. Great. Where is this happening? If you take another step back, that's a 3-day chart from a daily chart. You're saying, okay, we are breaking higher, but this does show a medium-term resistance being broken. Fine. And if you are like me, you'll say, okay, then I would really like to know what the macro scenario shows for the entire altcoin. That breakout we just saw here, that one is here. So you're breaking higher on a short and medium-term basis, and then you come back on the macro and you observe that we are bouncing and breaking from a long-term trend line to the upside where the price was above the 200-day moving average on a weekly. Now that's the bullish it can actually get, because the way you are going to see the price move higher is going to be great. Because say, for example, you keep your mind focused and say, okay, this pattern evolving in all different assets? No, it doesn't. Say, for example, this is XLM, Stellar. We know that it is highly correlated with XRP, and most of the time we see that correlation. But what's more important here is that the time frame in which we've been making. Now, I agree the pattern here is bullish, but what I'm talking about is the current correlation. XRP broke higher. This was the pattern. Great. You saw that Ether broke higher, but still XLM is trying to do that. It's slowly going back up. The momentum is building. I agree on all those points, but you are not yet pushing that limits to the resistance. You're not testing that resistance. So it may come, it may happen, but what I'm trying to illustrate here is that a breakout at that time, when you see XLM coming up to retest this range, most likely XRP has already broken this level of resistance, which is the macro level I'm talking about. Because this one is really serious. Because when you observe that the macro RSI has been broken to the upside, we're staying there, we're not coming back down. The MACD suggests that you're going all the way back up. That's serious change in the price action if you are looking to take profits. Great. Then you go look at things evolving. You see things like the central banks are like, okay, they were really expecting to do a 75 basis point, I think, and it happens to be 50. So a central bank now slows. Now, yes, 50 basis points historically is a big one, but based on the current scenario, Even Fed is doing 75, 75, 75. Great. So we expect them to do 75 or above that with the level of inflation in the country. But now they don't have the room to the upside to push it that level because the markets will collapse. Now, this is a positive change, and if this is a trend which we will observe in G7 countries, that's going to be strong. But then again, you see people like this, a respectable, reputable guy, a professor giving you this. And I'm like, okay, if you are an economics professor, I understand where you're coming from, right? Because they don't really look at the reality, they look for the theories because that's what's in the book. And it never matches the reality. What they look for is they'll ask you, what are you going to buy before you enter the supermarket given the price? And what happens? You go inside and you change your decision, you buy something else. So what they took note of is different. That's another level. Now, on the fundamental note, this is positive for XRP. At a time when you're trying to break higher, this is happening, and that's bullish because when you're looking at the fundamentals of something, it really is evolving. You look at this. I'm not saying it's only going to be one asset. I'm saying at least 10% of the total assets in crypto market can remain. That means 90% will be wiped out. So make sure which long-term horses you choose for this race because that may not be the right thing if you are here for next 6 months or if you're comparing with that towards your 3 to 5 year goals. Regulations will kick a lot of them out. But if you even consider what's happening globally, now you again will come here and say, okay, I agree if this is what's happening right now, then I may not say this asset will go bankrupt. So that's where the fundamental lies. And you just saw one of another big countries now having financial issues. I agree. There's a lot of political turmoil. I agree. But this is a positive change because if this happens and US is still slow, you will see capital moving away. You will see entrepreneurs, the brain power moving into different countries where they have regulations, the clarity for investments, right? So positive steps on the fundamental side, money coming into the market, and you see prices breaking. So what you should be precisely looking at is the movement in the market and then the volume, because not every asset will have same volume. Remember, where were we in the volume? In 3 days, the volume just went sky high. Now that's something to keep note on. Then the volume in stable coins is really high. Where will all these go? You don't know. It can be Bitcoin, it can be Ether, it can also be XRP. A fraction of that coming into the market is going to be really interesting for a lot of different assets because we do see even meme coins starting to take off. Now that's something really interesting with the Twitter takeover from Elon, and that's going to play out in different ones. And then you come here and ask okay, I'm really looking at the staked amount of Ether, and I see right now the staked amount is riding up. And we were noting at this trend of how many people are willing to put that money there, staked for that long term, to see if money is coming into the market. So you see wallet tokens, you see exchanges, you see all of this starting to slowly take off. So make sure you're in the assets which have liquidity. Otherwise, you may end up like this, 0, 0. You put money in, you're stuck there, you can't take your money out. That's not the scenario which you really want to be in when XRP is leading the market to the next all-time highs. Because, I repeat, if you are looking at the conservative targets, you will still be here saying, okay, I think if this patterns plays out, we are looking at the next wave all the way up there. Now you say, okay, 80% of that. Put that number in. That still will work. $20 to $24 per XRP is going to be super huge. Now, a lot of you can think okay, I'm out at $10. I'm out at $12. It's all completely up to you. But when the price gives you these kind of signals where it clearly says, okay, I'm reversing, don't go judge the price with just your thought process. Because when the price showed us that, yes, I'm printing a lower low here, and then the strength index actually showed us no, my strength is increasing. Buying side is pushing higher in this time zone. So you will be looking for the opposite when you are trying to take the profits. Great. You look for this range and you put the same line here to see how things evolved. Now, this is what I'm talking about. On a daily, on a 3-day, when you get that divergence, make sure you are taking the profits. It can reverse even after putting another low, but that's not guaranteed. Sometimes it reverses at that point, and you don't want to be in a position where XRP goes to $10, $20, whichever it is, and you're still waiting for a $10,000 XRP, the price come back down. That's wave 2 ending day. Now you may actually go through another 80-90% drop. So I think it will be better to take profits in wave 2 and have proper strategy set and aligned for that. Now, if you are like me, you're asking that question like, okay, I have XRP, but I also have some other assets which remains in my portfolio, which I trade short to medium long term. So what should I do? Then you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below, where we discuss through all of this on a regular basis. So you know the fundamentals, you know the macro scenario unveiling, like this dollar breaking through downside. Different assets right now, believe me, different assets right now are breaking to the upside, showing different targets, and we are riding a lot of them. The benefit is, now you know the target. In between, if there is a drop, a correction, a bump, you don't care because you know this is the target, this is the pattern. You're going to take profits at 80% of that, being conservative, right? That's the right strategy in my humble opinion. So guys, if you received value, please do hit that like and subscribe button. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.